sunny Norfolk, Massachusetts. Welcome to Keeping It Positive. I'm William Nineveh,
And I'm Patrick Quinn, and we are the Big
Big
Bossmen.
Bossmen. Hey, today we have a couple of guests on. We have our account manager, Katie Robinson, and project manager, Steve Rieger, and we're going to kind of just review a little bit about our new operating atmosphere here. So we'll call this the day in the life of our new business atmosphere. So thanks for joining us, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks for having us.
So let's just talk about, during the pandemic, we've had to do a lot of different things here. One thing I like to say is we've had to improvise a lot. And we should probably just touch base on some of the technology that we've been implementing here while we have some folks working remotely and others still working in the office. But we have been collaborating on projects pretty well during this pandemic.
Yeah, I mean, we've been using Zoom internally, but with our with other customers, it's almost like that we've had to use every platform that exists, everything from Skype to Microsoft Teams to Zoom and a couple of other ones. But it's been pretty surreal doing everything virtually like this. How about you guys, Katie and Steve? What have you guys been working with?
I thought you guys took a good approach to moving us out of the office at an appropriate pace. You just took into account everything that's happening in the country and the world. So yeah, I just appreciate all that you did during that time.
It's been pretty tough and something new for us too. Obviously, we haven't been through a pandemic before, but we were kind of set up for a few things. Like I know we already had remote access to our server, which was something we implemented several years ago. Worked out well. I don't remember the year also that we implemented using Microsoft 365 as our email server. I think it was the year that our hard server here in our office had crashed a couple of years ago, that we decided to go off-site, make that a nice transition.
Yep.
Katie and Steve, you guys physically came to the office as the pandemic started hitting us, right? And took some of your hard equipment to your homes, right?
Yeah. I brought my monitor home to work from the kitchen here, kitchen/dining room.
Did you set up your dual monitors there, Steve?
I do, yeah. I got 2 monitors working. Same setup I had in the office. Trying to keep somewhat of a routine going while I'm home here.
Katie, how about, I know you help out a lot with manifesting and all different sorts of transportation documents. How's that been over the last 2 months?
It's been a good transition with the remote access that we have. I have access to the manifest printer, so I can print something from my home at the office, and the paperwork directly goes to the driver. So there's no contact and things like that. So
Yeah, Katie, that's been helpful for a couple of my projects, having that ability to get those manifests ready for the drivers. It's been important.
Yeah, so I mean, I feel like that as a company, we've adapted pretty well under the circumstances as much as we can, right? And so I would like to thank you guys for staying productive while working from home. I know there's a lot of challenges associated with working in that different environment. There's a lot of distractions now that you're home. So
yeah, I was a little concerned about doing that, but it seems to have worked out well, and everyone's been working hard from home. Katie, what are a couple of things that have been keeping you going?
just implementing a daily routine. I have my dual monitors set up at my dining room table, but again, what Pat said, you're in close quarters. I'm working where I also eat and relax. So that's my biggest struggle, is just, sitting down here, focusing on this. So.
But it is pretty important to just keep that consistency going through an event like this. And appreciate all your hard work remotely. Why don't we touch base about some of the techniques and procedures that we're going to have implemented during our reopening?
Sure. So obvious signage as far as making sure that everyone has mandatory face covering and all that, and a few other about social distancing. We're going to have a policy as far as employees having a staggered start time in the office so that there's not congestion in the front office area, and that employees can get from the front doors into their private offices where they can take off their masks and have a sanitary area where they're working. And anytime somebody has to go use a bathroom or use the kitchen or whatever, they have to have a face covering on outside of their office. On top of that, throughout this entire pandemic, and we will continue doing so, we have been having our SteriMist team come in twice a week and disinfecting the entire office to help eliminate any germs that could be here. So we are taking an active approach, and that's how we will continue to move forward. And we're not going to put a time limit on when are we going to take the face coverings off and all that kind of stuff. It's kind of open-ended for now, and we're just going to keep going like this.
So you guys, when you get back, you'll be back in your individual offices here, and what kind of things are you gonna have to do when you get back? You're gonna have to move all your stuff.
Yeah, you got to move back in your offices, make it your own again. it's going to be a little weird for you the first few days, I'm sure.
Katie and Steve, why don't you guys each let us know your thoughts about moving back to the offices?
My opinion is that I know you guys are taking an approach to decontaminate the office, and I think that's awesome. And I think more businesses should stay compliant in that aspect. So yeah, I feel comfortable in the workplace once I get back there, knowing it's going to be clean and sanitized.
You'll have to bring all your equipment back and get it all set up on your desk, all the wires and monitors.
Shouldn't be too hard.
What was the question?
The question was what are the challenges that you foresee, or what are the how do you feel about moving back into the office? Just go with that whenever you're ready.
Oh yeah, I think I'll be ready to move back in when the time is appropriate. I think we're following the CDC guidelines, and I think we'll be ready, and it'll be a good transition back into the office. But for the time being, we've been able to be pretty productive. Same routine, keeping the routine at home here. So, but like you said, we'll be ready to transition back into the office, set up all our equipment, monitors, and be ready to go.
Are you going to bring that fern with you when you come back?
The fern is staying. It's getting a little big.
I'm assuming it's real.
It's a strategic backdrop there with the fern over my shoulder.
There is no way that plant would survive in our office. We don't seem to do well here with plants.
Can the plant handle SteriMist?
It's pretty warm in here now, so it's doing well. It's a tropical environment.
So earlier, Billy, everything going on with the pandemic, and people can get down in a rut and whatnot. You had told me a story that you'd heard from one of your MMA coaches, and I was wondering if you could share that with our audience today.
Yeah, one of my martial arts instructors had a pretty funny story that he had shared. So it's kind of applicable to what's going on in the world right now. So if you don't mind, I'd just kind of share with you guys. So there was a whole bunch of frogs, and they were jumping in a field, and they were jumping across the field. And all of a sudden, two little frogs fell into a hole that was pretty deep. And they were struggling to get out of that hole. And all of their friends had gathered around the top of this hole. And they were looking down at the frogs, trying to jump out of the hole, really struggling to get out. And they were yelling down to their friends, "Hey guys, just give up. Just give up now. You're going to die. Just accept that. Just die in the hole." And they kept trying to jump. And their friends kept yelling down, "Hey guys, don't waste your time. You cannot get out of that hole. And one frog stopped jumping. The other frog just kept jumping and jumping and jumping, trying his best. And his friends kept yelling down at him, just give up. Stay down in the hole and die. That's your destiny. All of a sudden, this frog gets out of the hole, and their friends are looking around at him. And they're surprised that he was able to jump out of this hole that was really deep. And he said, hey, guys, I just wanted to thank you. You know that I'm deaf, but I wanted to thank you for cheering me on. So the moral of that story is, don't pay attention to all the negativity that's going around you and everyone telling you that you cannot do something and get out of that hole.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, the moral of the story, right? There's always a way out of the hole.
Perseverance.
that's it.
More than one way to do things.
Yeah, don't give up. Don't get down in the hole. It's crazy times we're living in, and some people can be in a pretty dark space right now. But at the end of the day, the sun is going to rise, and you got to keep going and keep trying. So.
Mm-hmm.
So with that, we just wanted to remind everyone to keep it positive out there.
So on that note, until next time, guys.